For today's cruise news, a mom has been arrested and is potentially facing up to 2 years in prison after police say she left her 2 kids at home while she went on vacation on a cruise. And what's crazy about this entire situation is that even though this woman has been arrested, even though her own 2 children have told the police exactly what had happened, it appears she's still trying to lie about the whole ordeal to somewhat soften the blow. Also, a pregnant woman was emergency medevaced or airlifted off of a cruise ship by the Coast Guard mid-cruise after she suffered some medical complications. This story is going to be a reminder to all of you why you should plan accordingly when it comes to travel and why you should also have insurance. We'll go over the details in today's video. So diving straight into it, this here is 29-year-old Lakeisha Williams from Houston, Texas. She is currently sitting in a jail cell at $25,000 bond for allegedly leaving her 2 children, a boy and a girl, ages 6 and 8, while she decided to go on a cruise out of town. According to eyewitnesses that are entangled within this conundrum, which happen to be the neighbors also staying at the same luxury apartment as Lakeisha Williams and her children, according to what they had told the boys in blue, the Houston PD, all of this started on April 4th when they noticed that around noontime local time, Lakeisha Williams came out of her luxury apartment with luggage. When she didn't return, on April 9th, there was a welfare check done on the kids to see exactly what was going on. During the welfare check process, the 6 and 8-year-old children were found inside of the apartment alone. Inside, it was discovered that there was trash and leftover food riddled throughout the entire house. It also had a strong hint of urine. That's the yellow stuff that comes out of your private bits. There was also a camera in the house to apparently watch over the kids, and one of the children also had a phone to text Lakeisha Williams. Once this discovery was made on April 9th, police would then call the fire department to check on the health of the kids, and they would also call Child Protective Services. At this point in time, the kids are now in custody of the aunt within the family. Now, during this process, whenever the kids were discovered to be staying in the apartment alone, the police were messaging Lakeisha to ask about her whereabouts. She told them that she just took a flight, that she didn't take a cruise. However, there are arguments coming out now stating that if she only took a flight, how come she didn't immediately return home? However, she would return home on April 11th. At that point in time, she would then be arrested, and now she is in court, currently facing, well, up to 2 years in prison. According to Lakeisha Williams, who continues to change her story, she is stating that all of this took place because she allegedly gave her cousin some money to watch the kids. However, the cousin just kind of took the money and ran, and that's why nobody was supervising and watching the children. Now, looking at all of this as a whole, there are people that are making a lot of arguments. They're saying that the neighbors are snitches because the neighbors will also state to police that this is not the first time that she had allegedly done this. However, there's no proof to corroborate that statement that's being made. It's still on the side of negligence, and I think everybody could agree, because there are some people making arguments saying that, well, when they were 8 years old, 9 years old, 10 years old, they were getting left at the house all the time. I was too. Now, given, yeah, hindsight's 2020. Looking back, my parents would leave, but they would never go anywhere for a week, let alone a cruise. Will we be left at home while they go pay some bills or handle some adult-like activities for an hour or two? Sure, but a week, that is too much. Being real, naturally, everyone that hears this story is going to use their moral compass, their code of conduct as a parent, as well as their personal experience to either justify this situation or crucify it. However, of course, I do want to hear from all of you in the comment section below. Do you think this is wrong? And do you think Lakeisha Williams should be facing potentially 2 years in prison for what she's done? Next up, we have a true rescue at sea. A 35-year-old pregnant woman that was sailing on a cruise on board the Disney Fantasy suffered some medical complications with her pregnancy while at sea just off of the coast of Puerto Rico. Apparently, she had initially went over to the medical field on board the cruise because, if you guys don't know, every cruise ship is required to have some sort of medical facility or hospital on board. However, it was determined that she needed a higher level of care. So the local Coast Guard over in Puerto Rico was contacted, and they rushed over to service and picked her up in the middle of the ocean, as you can see on the video here, and took her over to a local hospital over in Puerto Rico, where she is now indeed getting the care that she needs. First of all, a huge shout out to the medical professionals, the crew on board the Disney Fantasy, as well as the Coast Guard that sprung into action to make sure this pregnant woman got the care that she needed. I can't imagine for the doctors on board to make a split-second decision to determine if somebody needs to be medevaced to get additional care that they can't offer on board. It's got to be a difficult decision to make. And for the Coast Guard, as you can see with this rescue, somebody dangling in the middle of the ocean, it can't be an easy job to do, as well as the woman. Shout out to her as well. I can't imagine what kind of complications she was going through. I'm not a woman, so I can't imagine what it's like to be pregnant, potentially dealing with some painful complications, and being hung 50 feet up in the air over open ocean while trying to stay calm so that you don't potentially further cause additional issues in your complications during your pregnancy. By the way, I'm sure some of you are probably curious as to what the complication was. That has not been disclosed, so I personally don't know. However, as you could imagine, when it comes to the cooking, the baking, the growth of a child inside of a pregnant woman, there are a lot of factors, a lot of details involved with it. So naturally, things can happen at any point in time. It also hasn't been determined how far along the mother was. However, with most cruise lines and with Disney specifically, usually if you are 23 to 24 weeks pregnant or about 5 to 5.5 months pregnant, you normally can't cruise. So I'm going to go ahead and assume that she was somewhere in that range, or maybe a little bit earlier into her pregnancy. Nevertheless, this is a situation that can happen. It's just reality, but thankfully there were staff on board that were professional enough, and the Coast Guard, again, like I said, that could make sure this woman was taken care of and got the care that she needed. By the way, as we close out here, in light of this situation that has taken place, I do feel the need to remind all of you that obviously in life there will always be risk. If you are somebody out there that maybe has some medical issues, or if you are pregnant, no matter how far along you are, if you decide to do something like go on a cruise and maybe you've had medical issues in the past, maybe with the pregnancy, in this particular case it's undetermined if that actually was to happen, or even if you get seasick, you should go consult your doctor, let them know exactly what it is that you're doing, let them know where it is that you're going. That way you are well informed and you can make a educated decision as far as what you are going to do. This story also reminds me of a video that I made that some people did find controversial when I told people that if a crew member gets pregnant, they will be, well, signed off of the cruise ship. They won't be allowed to stay, but this is exactly why. It doesn't matter how far along you are in a pregnancy. You can have complications at literally any point in time, even if you have done absolutely nothing wrong and maybe you've already had a child and it was healthy the first time. Now you have to deal with a situation where if you can't get the care that you need on board, you now have to deal with this woman had to endure and be medevac and taken to another facility. That way you are safe. Last thing I will say, and to be very clear, if you are pregnant, by all means, enjoy your life. Take the cruise. I will just again say go consult your doctor and make sure it is something safe for you to do. However, you should also make sure you have some type of insurance. This helicopter ride that this woman had to take, it's probably going to run her in the range of about $20,000. That's given if she doesn't have insurance. I'm going to assume that she does, because looking at this, obviously, yes, you can go take a cruise without insurance and you're only worried about typically yourself unless you're sailing with your family or anything like that. However, if you're pregnant, you're not only worried about yourself, you're worried about another innocent life. So do keep that in mind. But anyway, of course, guys, let me know your thoughts on this in the comment section below. Hit that like button on your way out. Subscribe if you haven't already. And as usual, I love and appreciate every single one of you. I'll see you later. Take it easy.